Okay, good evening, my dear friend, students, and good evening, sir. So,
Good
welcome
evening.
to our session faculty exchange program. So, today's resource person is Dr. Padala Thirupathi, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Government Degree College for Women, Jagitya. So, sir will deals with Economic Botany Unit 2. Okay, sir. So,
Okay, very
start.
good evening, my dear friends. Very good evening, madam. So, on this wonderful platform, this through online mode, so Google Meet. So, we are going to discuss about one of the important area in economic botany. So, in the faculty exchange program, we are here just because of the collaboration between two prestigious women's colleges, that is RBVRR Women's College, Autonomous, Hyderabad, and along with that college, Government Degree College for Women, Jagityal. So both these colleges in the collaboration process, we are here just because of that process. So first of all, I would like to thank to both the college principals, Dr. J. Achita Devi Madam Garu, RBVRR Women's College, Autonomous, Hyderabad, and Dr. Y. Satyanarayana, Principal, Government Degree College for Women, Jagityal. So uh, so today we are going to discuss about the importance of legume plants and even though the economic value and the ecosystem in the ecosystem, uh, we are going to discuss the what are the legumes, what are the most important factors are important in human welfare and also in ecosystem. Okay, uh, I hope I will share my PPT. I hope this slide is visible.
Yes, sir.
Anybody can respond. Okay, right. So before going to the economic importance, and even though in legumes in human welfare and also in ecosystem, what are legumes? So legumes, we know that in our day-to-day life activities, we are very much of using as a fodder, as a protein content based food. So these legumes are most important food for all over the world, not only in India but also all over the world. So are members of the legumes are the members of the family of the Fabaceae or Leguminaceae family, which includes all types of beans and various trees and ornamental plants also. So what we are saying, this slide shows about the different seeds we are observed here now, different uh, uh, pulses we are observed in this slide. So along with these pulses, the various trees and ornamentals also present in this Leguminaceae family members. So contain more protein material than any other vegetable products compared to, even though animal meat compared to animal meat, higher than the animal meat, the protein content is available in this what we can say legume beans or leguminaceae seeds. Okay, so that's why so leguminaceae family are very useful, are very important crops for producing different pulses. Okay, so that's why the leguminaceae family also we can call as, the protein family, proteinaceous. So larger content of the protein is having in this seeds. Okay, then what are the characteristics of these legumes? The second slide is visible, this flower. Anybody ఎనీబడి ఈ రెండో
Yes,
స్లైడ్
sir. Yes, sir.
కనబడుతుందా? రెండో స్లైడ్.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So this slide explain about how the plant shows, how the plant flower is having different parts which we are observed in this slide. So the flower of these beans or the flower of this Leguminaceae family. So They contain five petal flower is irregular with bilateral symmetry, and fruits is a pod or legume. The leguminaceae family fruits we can call as a pod or legumes. With one row of seeds, they shows the marginal placentation. See here, so we are observing this marginal placentation in this fruit. Okay, and seeds contain food storing cotyledons. See here, so these seeds are contain food storing cotyledons, rich in oil and protein, rich in oil and protein also. Some of the students asking me, sir, what about your told in previous slides, sir? So protein content is high, higher protein contains content is available in these leguminaceous seeds. Then what about oil? Oil means some of the leguminaceae family seeds, they are also preserve this oil content also. The best examples of this oil content uh, seeds or plants are: number one, Arachis hypogaea. Okay, Arachis hypogaea, Arachis hypogaea. And then another one is the Pongamia pinnata or Deris indica. So these two plants, which they are storage food material in oil in nature. So that's why we know that groundnut oil, we know that groundnut oil yields from Arachis hypogaea seeds. And also the Pongamia pinnata, the seeds which is used for biodiesel. So making of the biodiesel, which is derived from Deris indica or Pongamia pinnata. So in this leguminaceae plants, they can high rich in oil and also protein content. And high protein content of legume is correlated with the presence of root nodules, which contains nitrogen fixing bacteria. We know that majority of the crops from this leguminaceae family, they are producing lots of nodules in the on the roots of the leguminaceae family. So these root nodules is also very useful for the fixation of the nitrogen with the help of Rhizobium leguminacearum bacteria. Rhizobium leguminacearum bacteria, this is gram positive bacteria, which is helpful for the fixation of the nitrogen from atmosphere. So free nitrogen, that is a molecular nitrogen, which is available in 75% of the nitrogen is available in the atmosphere. That free nitrogen or molecular state of the nitrogen, which is unable to utilize by plants. So plants is only usable forms of the nitrogen is nitrates and ammonia. But in content of the in the presence of the atmosphere, 78% of the nitrogen available, but the 78% of the nitrogen is not utilized by these all eukaryotic and higher plants. Only the prokaryotic living organism like Rhizobium bacteria or cyanobacteria, which they are capable for the fixation of the nitrogen from atmosphere. Okay, my dear friends. And the beautiful slide shows about the how the marginal placentation and seeds of these pea plant of leguminaceae family. I hope you this wonderful slide you observed in this slide. Am I right? Are you visible? The seeds of leguminaceae. కనబడుతుందా? కనబడుతుందా?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then, so this leguminaceae fruit we can also call pod. Okay. So legume pod. And the what about the history of the legumes? Before going to the economic importance of this leguminaceae family members, what is the history in previous years? How these legumes are derived, or which is bringing from which area? So the history of the legumes is also one of the most important before going to discuss about the economic importance. The oldest records from the oldest civilizations like Egyptian civilization. Okay, Egypt Nagarikata. So this Egyptian civilization and even Eastern Asia demonstrate that the ancient use of the various old world beans, peas, wedges, soya beans, and alpha. Okay, these are oldest word beans. And one of the early Greek botanist. Have you know? Have you ever heard the Greek botanist? Anybody can tell? Who was the father of botany? Who was the father of botany? Anybody?
You pastors.
Yes, very good. So the Theophrastus belongs to Greek botanist, you know. So who was the guru of this Theophrastus? Theophrastus యొక్క గురువు ఎవరు? Theophrastus. Anybody? ఎవరికైనా తెలుసా? Theophrastus. So Aristotle. Theophrastus యొక్క గురువు ఎవరు? Was the teacher of Theophrastus? Aristotle. Okay. So this Theophrastus, in summarizing, was that had been learned up to his time, which was the 3rd century before Christ. Wrote the leguminous plant reinvigorating the soil, and stated that beans were not a burdensome crop to the ground, but even seemed to manure it. So according to his writings, according to Theophrastus' writings, these leguminous plants, not only the burden for the cultivation of these plants, but also it is very useful for used as a manure also, you know. So which is useful for ground manure. Okay. And the Roman laid emphasis. Okay, Romanian civilization. So in Romanian laid emphasis on the use of leguminous plants for green manuring. Have you ever heard green manuring? They also introduced the systematic use of crop rotations. Crop rotation. What do you understand about the crop rotation? Crop rotation means one season which we are cultivated one type of crop, then another season we have to change the crop in the same soil. So that is the method which is applied in the method of the crop rotation method, which is useful for, which is helpful for resistance of the, improving the resistance of the pathogens, improving the soil fertility, and also much utilization of the nutrients. Okay, so crop rotation is very, very important. It is a practice that was forgotten for a time during the early Middle Ages. Crop rotation methods. Okay, then now we are going to discuss about some of the important beans of the different areas in the entire world. మనం ప్రపంచంలో ఉండేటువంటి వివిధ రకాల బీన్స్ కి సంబంధించి మనం ఇప్పుడు చూస్తున్నాం. We will going to discuss about different beans, you know. So this is an adjuki beans. What is the scientific name of this adjuki beans? Vigna angularis. Vigna angularis. So which these type of beans mainly popular in Japan area or Asia continent. In Asia continent, popular in Japan country, and often used in dessert and confections. Okay, so this is very popular in Japan, and this is ansaji beans. Ansaji beans, the scientific name of this ansaji beans are Phaseolus vulgaris. Phaseolus vulgaris. We are observed in this slide the dramatic red and white heirloom bean of the American Southwest. So these beans which are available, very popular in American Southwest, okay, American continent. And the third one is the black-eyed peas. Black-eyed peas. The scientific name of this black-eyed peas are Vigna unguiculata. Vigna unguiculata. మనం అంటాం చూడండి, అలచందలు అంటాం చూడండి, బబ్బెరలు అంటాం. So this Vigna unguiculata, also we can call as black-eyed peas. So these are very popular, favorite in South, must on New Year's for good luck. They feel like that. And these seeds that we can call as the black turtle beans. So the scientific name of this black turtle beans are Phaseolus vulgaris. So these are a small jet black bean the ingredient in black bean soups, making of the black bean soups, popular in Latin American cuisines, means Latin America continent or Latin America country. Okay, Latin American countries like Mexico, am I right? Brazil. So these are the countries, they are popularly used for making of the black bean soups. Am I right? Then, so these we are well known. We are well known seeds. That is chickpea. Chickpea. We know that shenagalu antam manam. Okay. The scientific name of this chickpea are Caesar aratinum. Caesar aratinum. I hope am I audible? Am I audible? Am I audible? Anybody else? Come on, respond. Anybody? Am I audible? హలో, వినపడుతుందమ్మా?
Yes, sir.
కనబడుతుందా?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this chickpea also known as garbanzo and sessi, common in Middle Eastern and Mediterranean food, Mediterranean foods. Okay, and these are kidney beans. So we are never ever seen like these beans, you know. So these beans also nothing but Phaseolus vulgaris, like in previous slides we are observed. These, you know, Vigna unguiculata, very related to Vigna unguiculata, but the size of the seeds is varies from that Vigna unguiculata. So this scientific name is Phaseolus vulgaris. So the best known in Chile continent, in what we can say the Chile. It is an American continent. Okay, Dakshin America, South American continent. So the best known of in Chile, most consumed legume in United States, and lentils. We are very well known these beans. That is the lentils, you know. So lens culinaris is the scientific name of this lentils, and which is used in making of the soups and the stews. Most important legume in India. So we are very well known for making of the sambar, making of the soups. Even though what we can say that. Uh, dal. Okay, in any hotels, daba hotels, they are making of the dal by using of this lens culinaris. Okay, lentils. Okay, am I right? So this is the lima beans. So these lima beans, scientific name is Phaseolus lanatus. Phaseolus lanatus, a new world crop native to South America and named after Peruvian capital, Peru. So Peru is a country. Peru is a country which is in South America continent. Am I right? So these Phaseolus lanatus or lima beans also called as New World crop. New World crop. And this is very well known to our Indian native. That is the Vigna radiata or Phaseolus aureus. Phaseolus aureus or Vigna radiata. So these also we can call as mung beans, pesar papuan, widely cultivated in India and China, best known as bean sprouts in Oriental cooking. We know that sprouts. Are you ever seen sprouts? Or ever eat in morning, in the morning of the different areas in our native India? ఎప్పుడన్నా తిన్నారా మొలకలు, స్ప్రౌట్స్, మొలకలు? ఈ మొలకల్లో ఉపయోగించేటువంటి బీన్స్, mung beans. Remember, my dear friends, yaad rakho. So these mung beans are useful making of the sprouts, which are very useful for constipation, or even though very much of high fiber content for digestion tract, for what we can say that proper working. Then navy beans. So the scientific name of these navy beans are Phaseolus vulgaris, the smallest white bean celebrated in Boston baked beans. Boston baked beans. Oh, this is very beautiful. Pinto beans. So the scientific name of these beans are the Phaseolus vulgaris. Some of the students is asking me, sir, in previous slide, Phaseolus vulgaris. In previous slide, Phaseolus vulgaris. So what is the difference between? So that means the beans which are related to different country, so they are used for the scientific name Phaseolus vulgaris, and these Phaseolus vulgaris beans are having a different code. Seed code is the color of the seed code is varies from other seeds. So these mottled pink and brown beans, mottled pink and brown beans used in refried beans and other Tex-Mex dishes. Tex-Mex dishes. And we are well known soya bean. So high protein content compared to meat, compared to any other product, any other plant food material, the high protein content is available only glycine max, that is soya bean. So this soya bean plant is very small, bushy, and even though erect, or some of the soya bean plants, even though they are prostate and annual resembling the cowpea. Okay, and these soya beans, they are native to southeastern Asia, where over 1,000 varieties are grown. Okay, in Manchuria, leading in commercial production, followed by Korea, Japan, and Dutch East Indies. Okay, even though India also. And the last slide, or last one, that is a peanut. Peanut. So peanut is also, we can call it in Arachis hypo. The scientific name of this peanut, Arachis hyposia. So Arachis hyposia is a true legume rather than a run nut. Rather than a nut, for the shuck is merely a shell-like pod. The plant is very bushy or creeping annually with the peculiar habit of the ripening its fruit underground. My dear friends, remember the geocarpic fruit which is available, which is present only in the basic a leguminaceae family member only, that is peanut or Arachis hyposia. So groundnut plant only produce geocarpi, that is underground fruit only. Remaining leguminaceae family fruits, they are in produce only in what we can say that externally produce. But the Iraqis hyposia fruits, they can produce underground. So this fruit we can call as pod. Okay, pod. And remember, my dear friends, this peanut is a native of Brazil, but was early carried to the old world tropics by the పోర్చుగీస్ ఎక్స్ప్లోరర్స్. ఎప్పుడైతే పోర్చుగీస్ వారు మన భారతదేశానికి వచ్చారో, అక్కడ నుంచి బ్రెజిల్ నుంచి ఈ వేరుశనకాయ మనకు వచ్చిందనమాట. ఓకే, am I clear? అర్థమైందా? Am I clear? Okay, then we will going to discuss about కనబడుతుందా ఇది, the importance of legumes in cereal cropping system. This is visible. Anybody? Amma, respond. The importance of legumes in cereal cropping system. It is visible.
Yes, sir.
So before these slides, what we are discussed, Amma? What are the crops related to legumes? So how many types of the beans are available, not only in India, but also all over the world? Different beans, cowpea, or even the groundnuts. So different beans we are discussing. Now, what is the importance of these legumes? So that we are going to discuss in this topic. So increased cultivation of legumes is essential for the regeneration of nutrient deficient soils and for providing needed protein, minerals, and vitamins to human and livestock. Why we are going to cultivate of legumes in a soil, in soil or different soils? Right? Because whenever we are going to cultivate these legumes is also efficiently provide the different nutrients to the soil, and also some of the minerals, vitamins for human consumption and also livestock. Have you ever heard livestock term? Livestock means animal husbandry or animals. Livestock means animals. So this is the most important point. And legumes can be means of improving the livelihood of smallholder farmers around the world. Even though the what we can say that the small scale the small scale farmers or 1 to 2 acres land farmers also can easily cultivated these legumes in their land, native land. Okay, and the legumes in human nutrition as a source of the protein content. Remember, this protein content is very larger than the animal content or animal protein. Okay, so the grain of legumes such as the pigeon pea or chickpea or soya bean or mung bean, whatever it may be, or different peas are a good source of the protein with a protein content ranging from 17 to 40%. 17 to 40%. Remember, my dear friends, in meat, any type of meat, any type of animal protein, only that is 80 to 18 to 25% of the protein which they are available in that meat. But the soya bean, their content, the protein content is more than 40% of the protein is available in that beans or in that seeds of the soya bean. By even though by combining of cereal and grain consumption, farmers and their families can achieve protein balance and nutritional improvements. So that is also very helpful for the human consumption. And even though these legumes also as a source of important vitamins and minerals. So before what we have discussed, Amma, so these legumes contain more than 40% of the, say, the ranging of the protein content is 17 to 40%. More than 40% is also available in soya bean. But rather than in that, along with that protein content, these legumes are also very important source for the vitamins and also minerals. So which type of vitamins available in that these legumes? Remember, my dear friends, B complexes like B1 thiamine, B2 vitamin riboflavin, B3 vitamin means niacin. Okay, and some of the folic acid, even though the folic acid also available vitamins in these legume sources. And these legume seeds also very significant amount of the minerals like calcium, zinc, phosphorus, sodium, even though iron content also. So that's why, so the legumes not only for the consumption of the protein, but also these legumes are very useful for the rich source of the minerals. By the by, even though vitamins also, especially B complexes. So B complexes are very important for the human daily activities, the physiological activities of the human being and also livestock. The B complexes are very important. So the balancing of these B vitamins, so these legumes are very useful. And remember, my dear friends, these legumes unable to contain vitamin C, okay, and vitamin A and C vitamins are not available in this legume seeds. Okay, and then as a way for reducing cholesterol and blood sugar. So this is a very important point for the aged people and also age old people. Not only aged people, but also in day to day. In even though the present day lifestyle is also very dangerous for the human immunity system. So some of the people they are suffering from diabetic, some of the people they are suffering from hypertension. So in this scenario, these legumes are very important for the reducing of the cholesterol, even the blood sugar. So that's why some of the diseases like the heart diseases and even though the liver diseases, even the kidney disease is also is controlled by this consumption of these legumes. And even though the legumes for animal nutrition, uh, along with these humans, the legumes also very useful in animal nutrition also, for because of in our Indian continent or Indian subcontinent or India is majority of the people they are depends upon the agriculture sector. More than 65% of the population they are depends on agriculture sector. Along in this agriculture sector, so so the animals also one of the part of this agriculture sector. So in this scenario, the cereal crops is residues supplemented with forage legumes significantly increase overall animal productivity. So I hope you clearly understood what about I am saying. So this cereal, whatever the supplement of the cereals, we know that cake oil cake. Am I right? Oil cake, even though the leaves. Okay, what we can say that animals. Which type of industry are used in this legume plants? So increasing poultry for laying of eggs, and even the production has been reported when pulse grains are included in their feed. So that's why in last decade onwards, the cereal crops, especially along with these pulses, maybe a majority of the pulses like soya beans, the cultivation of the soya bean is also increased for the using of this poultry and also in the dairy industry also. So that's why the poultry industry make using of this what we can say the soya bean, automatically this increase of the yield, eggs also, and also the body of the even though chicks and even though these birds of the poultry, and adding the residue from legume plants into livestock forage can increase the digestibility and overall quality of cereal crop residues. For example, maize. Maize residues tend to be high in carbohydrate but low in protein. So that's why, along with the cereals, this protein content is needed for the supplement or needed for the growing of the chicks in poultry and also even dairy industry also. So that's why they're adding up the leguminous plants will contribute to improve livestock to nutrition. Okay, so that's why the livestock nutrition along with this maize cereals. So this legume products is very useful for the nutrients and nutrition to the animals. So in this slide we are observed, so that is how beans sown are following the maize. So this is a mixed crop cultivation, in this harvesting, in the order to enrich the soil diversity, the foods available for human consumption and improve cattle feed. So simultaneously, along with human development or human nutrition, the animal nutrition is also useful by the utilizing of this soil, by the cultivation of this mixed crop cultivation like beans along with this maize and legumes for crop and soil improvement also. For in ecosystem we are observed, that. So in our entire ecosystem we are observed, so grassland ecosystem, terrestrial ecosystem, so what we can say that in this terrestrial ecosystem especially, the soil improvement is one of the most important for the crop rotation method or crop cultivation. So these legumes are very useful for the optimum yield. The crops required a supply of mineral nutrients, the most important of which is nitrogen. Are you ever heard about the nitrogen? Yes, we know that the nitrogen is one of the major source for the all amino acids and also the protein making of the proteins or the protein synthesis. This nitrogen is very important. So that's why the exhausted soils are often low in nitrogen, meaning that farmers are normally applying inorganic fertilizers. Inorganic fertilizers, that is very important. So however, as the fertilizers cost increase, farmers struggle to obtain good yield. So that's why this problem, how to overcome this problem, just because of applying of this legume crops, cultivation of the legume crops or crop rotating methods. Okay, by incorporating legumes into the cropping system, then automatically the farmer can easily overcome the problem of the low nitrogen content in the soil and also the cost benefits also we are observed in the in our small scale industry farmers also. And the leguminous plants have the special relationship with the nitrogen fixing bacteria called rhizomia bacteria. We know that's very important. The prokaryotic bacteria, that is the prokaryotic living organism rhizobium leguminosarum, they are symbiotic with symbiotic association with the root nodules or roots of the leguminous plants. So this rhizobium is very important for the fixation of the nitrogen or nitrogen in the nitrogenless soils or even the low nitrogen soils also. So this is rejuvenate or recapitulating the minerals are like nitrogen from atmosphere. So the atmospheric nitrogen, that is the molecular state of the nitrogen, is converted into usable form of the nitrogen, that is the nitrates and ammonia. These nitrates ammonia is usable form, are used by the all plants. So that's why these biologically fixing nitrogen levels in the soil, legumes provide a relatively low cost method of replacing nitrogen in the soil and enhancing soil fertility and boosting sequent crop yields also. Am I right? So that's why, remember my dear friends, whenever we are absorbed the low nitrogen content is available in the soil, just we can going to apply or making up the cultivation of this leguminaceae family members, then automatically nitrogen and also minerals, some of the vitamins also, they are provide, making up the infertile soil into fertile soil. And this legume can be incorporated into cereal cropping systems in a variety of ways. Some, these are the varieties of way: for green manuring, intercropping, legume rotations, and leguminous. So first, green manure. Are you ever heard term green manure, Amma? Are you ever heard green manure? So this green manure is generally, it is very in natural setting, and also it is not harm, it is very easily available in the same area, and also it is enrich the soil fertility. So which is came over from the plants also, plant residues. Okay, so that is a green manure. So this green manure with legumes involves growing the plants, then slashing the crop and leaving it on the soil surface. So whenever we are going to cut into the smaller branches and the slashing on the crop and leaving on the soil surface, then automatically the crop on the soil surface has additional benefits. What is the benefits? The as a, it also reduces soil erosion and conserves soil moisture. So here two benefits we are observed. Number one, reduces soil erosion. Are you ever heard soil erosion? Mritika kramakshayam antam. Okay, Lela, the upper layer of the soil is eliminated through the air or through the floods, through the cyclones. So that's why whenever we are cultivating of this green manure, usage of the green manure, then automatically the soil erosion is decreased, and also they conserve the soil moisture. So soil moisture is very important for developing the root system into the soil. And a drawback with the green manuring is that involves the loss of a growing season, especially in an area where there is only one short growing season, since the grain is not harvested from the legume, and it is displaces the cereal crop. This is the one of the drawback. Okay, and also because the grain is not harvested, growing legumes as green manures does not provide the benefits to human diets. However, when soil quality is low and fertilizer prices are high, green manuring is an option for farmers to consider, especially in regions with longer growing seasons. Okay, so green manure is the alternative for the fertilizers, and also it is cut down of the cost of the purchasing of the small scale farmers. And the second one is the intercropping method or relay intercropping. Intercropping means to overcome the loss of the full growing season. Intercropping means with the legumes is a good alternative. With intercropping, alternative rows of the cereal crop and legumes are planted at the same time. Are you ever heard furrows? మీరు గొప్పలు ఎత్తులుగా ఉండేటువంటి చాళ్ళు ఉంటాయి చూడండి, అలాంటి వాటిల్లో ఆల్టర్నేట్ గా we are cultivating different crops in the same time in the same soil. So that's we can call as intercropping or mixed cropping. However, in some cases the legume may compete with the cereal crop. Okay, so definitely they are compete for the nutrients, they are compete for the air atmosphere, they are compete for the space. Okay, and also with the cereal crop for water and nutrients, reduce the yield for both crops. So with relay intercropping, whenever we are applying the relay intercropping, this competition for competition for resources is reduced. The cereals crop is sown first, followed by the legume a few weeks later. So in this scenario, both the grain yield and the nitrogen content have been found to improve. And the rotation. So crop rotation method is one of the important application for the soil fertility and also the yield. The yield. So yield of the crop yield, increasing of the crop yield just because of the depends of the crop rotation. Why? Because the crop rotation methods when we are going to apply, number one, what we can say that they are resistance to the disease and also so the diseased pathogen is unable to infect that say that for example when we are going to cultivate when we are cultivated the cereal crop or legume crop in that soil, then next season we are going to cultivate another crop like oil grains like ginger leaves or what we can say the sesame or even though some other what we can say that curcuma langa. So these are the different crops when we are going to cultivate it, then automatically the pathogen unable to infect the other plants or other crops. So one pathogen is ability to infect the same crop or same plant. So that's why this is the resistance or this is uh, what we can say that reduced the infection of the pathogens. And also crop yielding is also improved and soil fertility is also increased. Okay, then the leguminous shrubs. So this is the last important point we are going to discuss here, that is improve soil quality. Leguminous shrubs is also very useful for the improve soil quality. One option is to grow the shrubs in rotation with the cereal crop, cutting the shrubs to produce mulch and fodder. Are you ever heard mulching? Mulching means layers, layer different, some of the layers of the plant residues or even though the leaves, they are apply on the surface of the soil. So that we can call it as mulching. And however, this alternatives does involve the loss of a growing season. A second option is to grow leguminous shrubs as hedgerows, either within or around the field. అరౌండ్ ద ఫీల్డ్ అంటే సాధారణంగా వీటిని నేల పెడతాం చుట్టూ ఉండేటువంటి మన సరిహద్దుల మీద పెంచవచ్చు లేదా మధ్యలో గట్ల మీద కూడా మనం పెంచవచ్చు అన్నమాట. సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద సెకండ్ ఆప్షన్. సో సెకండ్ ఆప్షన్ ఈస్ టు గ్రో leguminous shrubs as a hedgerows or within or around the clock, around the field, మన చుట్టూ ఉండేటువంటి మన పంట చుట్టూ లేదా మన హద్దు చుట్టూ. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 10 we have 10-acre lands. So the edge of the 10-acre lands we are going to cultivate these leguminous shrubs also. And when the bushes are pruned, the clipping can be applied as mulch to the soil surface. ఎప్పుడైతే మనం కొమ్మలు కట్ చేస్తామో ఆ కొమ్మలను ఆ ఆకులను ఈ భూమి మీద పొరలుగా మనం ఏం చేస్తాం, మల్చింగ్ చేస్తాం. So that is also helpful for the protection of the soil moisture and also even though that also used as a green manure. An added advantage of this shrubs is that farmers can also produce honey during the flowering periods. So this is also one of the alternate method. And see here, it is an important to choose the legume carefully, taking the cereal crop into consideration. And for example, soya beans, we know that soya bean, glycemax, pigeon peas, and even the mung beans. So that is a what we can say that Phaseolus aureus or vigna are recommended as rarely crops within the within rice cropping system. So even along with this soya beans or even though the leguminous plants which are cultivated along with the rice cropping system also has intercrops or mixed crop with wheat, lathyrus, lentils, and chickpeas are recommended. Okay, so this is along with wheat, soya beans, pigeon peas, and mung beans are recommended for rice cropping, and lathyrus, lentils, and chickpeas are recommended for wheat crop field. In maize cereal, pigeon pea, sun hemp, and cowpea have positive effects, but uh, vigorous climbers such as velvet bean can choke the maize plants and make harvesting difficult. So that's why this is not applied, not useful for this method. And extension specialists can assist by making recommendations of crop combinations. And the last one, that is the constant to legume production. How this contents of this legume production presents new diseases, pests, weeds, which farmers will need to learn how to control. So some of the diseases, we know that the pathogens like fungi, the pathogens related to bacteria, the pathogens related to virus. So these are the some of the pests or some of the other microbes they can affect and making or that they can cause the different diseases in these leguminous plants or leguminous crop fields. And some of the weeds is also very important problem for the cultivation of these crops for, in the farmers. Okay, so we need to learn how to control. And even the so low soil pH. So soil pH is one of the important area of the chemistry of the soil. Okay, the chemical nature and high salinity. So the salt content, so soil content, soil content is whether the content is high salinity or the low salinity is also we are observing. Even the flooding. So one of the lower areas, even though what we can say that the hilly range areas, most of they are facing the floods. The flooding is also one of the most important for the concerns of the legume production. And nutrient deficiency can negatively impact the nitrogen fixation process, with the preventing the legumes from improving soil fertility to their full potential. And the last point, legumes are often expected to grow in existing soil moisture conditions. Reduced or non-exist irrigation may lead to drought stress. So this is one of the important topics today we are going to discuss here. We are already discussed here. That is the importance of the legumes in human welfare and also by the ecosystem. Okay, I hope you clearly uh, visible this what we can say that clearly visible this slide. ఈ స్లైడ్ కనబడిందమ్మా? ఈ స్లైడ్ కనబడుతుందా? Anybody else? Have you any doubt, Amma? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. So I will stop here, my dear friends. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Otherwise, I will stop here. Madam Ji.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, girls, you can leave.
Okay, ma'am.
Bye.